And welcome to our weekly speaker session, Off the Lifts. I see there's a couple of familiar faces and some new faces. Whose first session is this? I see. Wow! Oh my gosh, guys, thank you so much for coming so far. So today I'd like to introduce Carlo. He's all the way from Spain. He's actually German. But he's one of Michael's lifelong friends, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he's quite old, so I would say like quarter life, which is long.
And so Carlo is a man with many amazing business ideas, and he started many businesses and tried many different things.
Yes.
And he actually is going to speak to us today about a German thing, which is doing work vacation, learning on vacation type of a thing. He's going to tell us more about it and why it is so good for healthy work environments and healthy employees. So yeah, let's give a round of applause for Carlo.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. I will have to like move there every once in a while and switch around a little bit. It's very nice, first of all, to be here. I have been in Jeffreys Bay a couple of years ago, like 11 years ago, so quite a while. That's about how long I know Michael, I think 12 years. We met on different occasions, and I've always liked J-Bay, and I really liked Michael, who became a really good friend of mine. And a lot of those business ideas or ideas I had over the last 10 years, Michael was always one of the first to hear and listen to them, you know. And so also Michael was one of the first I talked about this project as well. And actually the first course or the first product we placed on the website that was online and actually Bible was a trip to J-Bay, doing a course here. I'll come to the specifics later. So, but you see also what this place kind of means for that project. It was sort of like a starting point as well, right? So I'm not sure if I was quite for a while in J-Bay. I don't know, do you remember me from back then? Or like, who's from J-Bay? Who's been living here? Okay, yeah. Not familiar? Okay, all right. I will try to help you, because back then I looked like this. That was like the old me. Like, that's the real me, you know. So still, remember? No, nothing? Okay. So that was me maybe like 12 years ago when I was or 11 years ago when I was in J-Bay for the first time. And I was tripping around the world a lot. I was traveling the whole of Africa. I actually came down here and I was parking with a Mitsubishi Pajero with German number plates in the super car park. So quite a few people got to know me after a while. I was this German guy that came down, driving down with a German number plate, you know. And yeah, from there, from being a bearded weirdo, you know, driving around the world looking for waves, I made quite a journey. I came back to Germany after a while. I wrote books. I worked as a photographer. I did lots of project management. And it was actually during the times of like COVID where first of all, I lost all my businesses that I had and all the things that I was doing. So I had to kind of reorganize myself. And I suddenly found myself in the role that I was managing quite large teams also in Germany and Spain during those COVID days in the like health sector. And for the first time I got to learn got to kind of see what like this kind of corporate life is like, which was, as you can maybe tell here, was quite far away from me for many years. So I was this like shaved guy driving with the car to like a glass building, take the elevator, go into the 6th floor and see what work is like. Yeah? And so it's been quite a journey. It's been a couple of years getting to know what work is like. And I have like three key findings of those 10 years to learn, you know, finding my way into corporate life, where that work can be, work can be fun, you know, work can actually be cool if it's done the right way, but then also work can be shit if it's not done the right way, you know. But overall what I realized is what we do and what we do a lot is we spend a lot of time at work. Like actually work is one of the main ingredients of our life. I could throw now studies at you guys. I didn't do that. I left them at home. But I mean, there are studies like we actually spend 4 times more work or quality time at work than with our own kids. So on like 6 hours of work, we have 2 hours of actually quality time with our own kids, you know, not speaking of friends or other people. So actually work is really the kind of the center of our life where we spend most time with, which can make us very happy and can fulfill us a lot, but it also can make us really unhealthy or unhappy, right? So I've seen those both sides during those days, and I kind of had I had a business relationship going on. I broke that relationship. My daughter was born at the same time, so I was kind of like reorientating myself, and I was kind of stuck with that, also that kind of perspective, you know, like how, like if I want to help people to become healthier and happier, I should really start actually with their working environment. Like, you know, like if you make work actually healthier and happier, people will be healthier and happier. It's the biggest leverage and the biggest impact I can have. So that's where I came from. So I started looking for things I could do. I was thinking of maybe doing like an agency, change management, organization development, coaching, I don't know, like different kind of things, maybe tool, maybe an app. And then I stumbled over this thing that is called Bildungsurlaub in Germany. It translates into, I forgot the Afrikaans word right now that I just learned, but it kind of translates into like educational leave. Yeah? So it's a right most German employees have. So we are a federal state, which means every state has different rules. We have 16 in total, but 14 of them actually provide all employees with that right. And the right is to pick a course of their choice, like an approved, qualified, certified course, which ours are by now, and take paid leave. You know? So you have 1 week per year. You can take additional vacation days, paid vacation days, and you can study something or learn something you like.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. Yeah, yeah. What is the question here? Wave or?
Well, can we do questions at the end?
Yeah. Oh, it's raining. So I stumbled over that kind of law, and I took a closer look, and I realized, okay, actually, I think there's a lot of potential in there, but 99% of all like educational leaves that are being offered are mostly stuff like yoga or resilience, anti-stress. Not saying that it's not great or right, but there were very few workshops on, for example, project management, leadership skills, AI, and so very little offer on like professional education. It was more, so kind of most agencies kind of abuse that sort of like educational leave as an additional holiday, and you know, have to focus really on the holiday and squeeze in something that sounds like education, you know, but they're really abusing the system in some way. That's also why it's very unpopular with lots of employers. So when the employees come and want to take that, then they're actually not really fond of it because they're going to be doing yoga in Spain or something, or the 5th Spanish course in Costa Rica or something like that. So it has a really bad image from an employer perspective in Germany, right? I forgot what the next slide is. I think it's a, yeah, that's what I just explained. Okay, okay. So coming from there, no, I switched those slides around. Sorry for that. So anyway, I saw a lot of potential in that. Coming from a background, I actually studied education before coming to Africa, for example. Like after that, I just left and drove off. I traveled a lot, so I knew lots of people like Michael, for example. He had a good network in that also hospitality area. I came from education background, and I do love sports. And for me personally, I also think that, for example, surfing gave me a lot in my life and helped me also to kind of survive one or the other personal issue. Okay, so having seen, you know, being also like very, you know, I don't know, those 3 things being part of my life, I saw also an opportunity to bring those things together. So education, travel, and sport. And I thought it's a really powerful combination. And if we do it in the right way, it could not only be somewhat of a holiday maybe, but maybe a holiday we actually learn something. And might it not just be the perfect opportunity to learn even better, you know, when you put everything together, rather, not rather like you learn and you miss out on free time, but what actually if the learning becomes sort of your free time, you know what I mean? So we founded Dein Bildungsurlaub. In the beginning I was doing it with a friend who then kind of dropped out because he was busy. He found his perfect job somewhere else. So I was stuck with the project by myself. We built a platform and started adding locations. The first location being Jeffreys Bay, and we are expanding our portfolio. So we focus on future skills mostly, so kind of skills that we actually, as a society or as companies, need for the future. and combine them with locations that we think are great, are special locations also, like this one, for example, where I think it's not only you go to a nice place, but actually there's a great community here. You guys came all out to see me, and we can see you, and you kind of take a little bit more away than rather just being in a hotel, right? Like, you actually see people from maybe other countries, other cultures, and also the people who actually participate in the courses come from different backgrounds, from different areas. So we not only have, I don't know, 10 employees from one company, right? And then they're all sitting together, they already know each other. But we bring people together from like 25 to 65 from all German states, coming from all different backgrounds. So we have people in the course coming from programming, from sales, from marketing, from social work backgrounds, whatever. So everything comes together in special locations and combined with sports that, I mean, in the beginning I wanted to surf because I thought surfing was cool, but the longer I was working on the project, the more I actually realized also how it makes sense. And then I also learned that actually there's a lot of like scientific studies on, for example, how surfing or yoga and especially outdoor sports have positive benefits on cognitive capabilities, of short-term memory, on personal development, and also like rehabilitation, right? So when you learn a lot, it's actually like really good to go surfing, for example, right? And kind of, you know, like refresh, gather your energy, organize your thoughts, and then come back the next day to the workshop. So it kind of all made a lot of sense, and yeah, that's basically what we do. We try to find courses that are relevant for us for the future, combine them with special locations we like, that have also maybe a little extra on top than just a hotel somewhere on the beach, and additional sports offers like surfing, yoga, pole dancing. We're offering the first pole dancing AI workshop in Spain. So we're also like a little bit provocative maybe. So we really want to make education in a different way. More fun, very open-minded, which maybe not everybody's understand in the beginning, but in the end, I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So, yeah, those basically are 4 or a couple of good reasons for the way we do it. Not everybody is doing that way. But what I think what is very powerful is like peer-to-peer learning, right? Bringing people from different backgrounds together makes a huge change. I mean, on one hand also for the learning process, but I believe South Africa in some ways has similar issues as Germany. You know, like society is drifting apart. You know, you have different classes, different states, whatever, and also bringing people from different walks of life, different age groups, different backgrounds together, and them learning together and doing sport together has also very, I think, positive impact on their sort of like, you know, attitude towards people in general, and brings people together. Diverse learning environment, also I could throw a lot of studies. The longer I'm working on this project, the more I also look into studies, and we have our own experiences. But if you change your learning environment, it helps also like the way you process information. You can remember things way better when you connect them with new smells, new people, new impressions, right? So if you just walk into the same room as the other day, and even if somebody is giving a really good workshop, you kind of will remember it better when you're there with different people, if you have a different lunch, if you do a different sport, something new, right? There's lots of studies on this, but I think it all makes sense. Maybe you can relate from your own experience to it as well. Then sport. I already, you know, especially the sports we try to combine are sports that are also scientifically approved. Not that I would not take ones that are not especially scientifically improved. You know, I really trust my own gut feeling, and it has been right so far. But also it helps to, for example, we had the state of Berlin in Germany. So it's really funny. So Berlin in Germany is like the alternative state. It's really wild. It smells like marijuana in all corners. But if you talk to the Berlin authorities, they're the exact opposite. They're everything but relaxed. And they, for example, wouldn't license our courses in the beginning because they I don't know, I guess they just didn't like the word surfing in there, you know, and fun. It's too much fun, you know. Something that is not approved by Berlin authorities. So we actually gathered, we compiled like all the studies on surfing, and how surfing actually positively impacts studying, cognitive abilities, and so forth. Everything I just told you. and sent them and created like a little, not a really like a scientific paper, but we actually wrote him a little paper back, and then they had to admit the course, because basically if they didn't admit it, they would basically go against like general like state of science, or so even Berlin had to accept our courses, and they will also accept pole dance. I'm sure about it. We're working on it. But yeah, that's also a little bit the resistance we got from the authorities. And then lastly, what we the skills we focus on, we really try to focus on future skills that are relevant for the future, right? Not just like anything like, oh look, we have a guy here who can do that, but we actually try to figure out what's really important. And interestingly enough, what is really important right now, I could again throw some studies and stats at you, but we have analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience, strategic thinking, problem solving. So those are really the capabilities we need for the future. If you look at all the stats from the World Economic Forum, for example, there are some interesting ones. And exactly those future skills that are relevant right now are those who are particularly performing well with peer-to-peer learning, because especially like creative thinking, right? So let's say like bringing people together might not always be necessary. If it's one like very specific thing that you need at your company, then it might be just better to bring them together and learn that new software or that new process or whatever. But especially if you want to improve general competences, and especially those who are needed right now, like creative thinking, for example, analytical thinking, problem solving, it makes even more sense to bring different people together, because then they actually learn faster rather than being together with your own peer group. So peer-to-peer learning works great. It's really important, but especially for the relevant future skills we focus on, it's even more beneficial than it is already. Yeah. So yeah, those are the 4 good reasons for Bildungsurlaub. I don't know if I'm too fast or I'm too slow. I'm not sure.
You're perfectly
I'm perfectly on time. Yes, okay, great. So what we've learned, so we published our website 1 year ago. It's been quite a journey. It's been very interesting also because it has a lot of different aspects. We have the states, the official, we have to work a lot with authorities in Germany. We have to work with quite complex text constructions, because selling travel vacations abroad is also, from a text perspective, quite complicated. And then we have all these other things that are going along. And in the meantime, we have to develop really cool products and good courses and find the right coaches and so forth. So I think what was really a big relief was there is a market, because it was not really obvious, because really there are many providers of this sort of like educational leave, but they almost all exclusively focus on language courses, yoga, and some sort of like offers that are really more vacation than education. So the thought process of or the approach to offer real education wasn't obvious, you know. So are people really willing to pay for real education in their free time, basically? Like, this was something that was not on the market really. So there was a market for it. I think we just passed the first 100 bookings 2 years ago for the going year. So we have the first courses that are sold out for the year. So it's actually really working. We are picking off. Picking off and yeah.
picking up.
everything all together. So that was really, because I don't know who's built a company here or a big project. If you start off and until it actually works and you make some money, and actually, you know, fuck all this pain and all the work, all those months and years, actually, you know, there's actually somebody who wants that, you know. So that was very great. Then something that I underestimated was the benefit of group dynamics, especially in combination with sport. So I thought more of the sport as sort of like with the positive impact on like cognitives and so on, and memory process, and also to like calm down and reorganize themselves. But having actually people together doing sport, going for a surf in the morning, also improves a lot, like the peer-to-peer learning process. Actually, when people almost died in the morning, they're way more likely to work together in the afternoon. So that's something I really underestimated. So to really like put people into like maybe even uncomfortable situations together. So then suddenly, if you have the workshop 4 hours later, the way they open up and also actually exchange their experience is something I really underestimate, and it's working way, way better than I've thought. Then one doubt we had was like the employers. Actually, our main slogan on the website is the only worry our customers have is that their boss wants to come with them. So we really wanted to provide a product that is sort of like the bridge between employer and employee to offer something that is good for both, right? And actually we have somebody, I think Carlo actually had, who's here with us, she was, her boss almost came with her, so we kind of achieved that. And she was not afraid of her, which is also great. So there are actually good employers out there who like our product. We have the first employers who are covering the costs for the client, for the employees, and not all of them, obviously. We have also some people that come and take our courses who have then the bonuses cut by the end of the year. So this also still exists, but then there are at least a couple of employers who see it as a chance to have maybe happier employees and also maybe better performing employees, because the offer we actually have, it really, really works. Lastly, the feedback is really great. So I think you have the first customer. For those who've been there, the first customer, it actually works. And then after the customer is gone, and the feedback is really great. So we've been getting referrals. People that came last year, coming back this year. They're recommending us within companies. So they're the first companies where we see the clients from companies coming back. So also that has been, it's been working really well. I think that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well done. Thank you so much, Carlo, and thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Do we have any questions? On the floor, I've got this really cute little microphone, so we're just going to pass it amongst each other.
Cheers, thank you. So you focus on some really important soft skills, some great stuff there. Is the focus more on what's needed by society in the future as a whole, or are those skills focused on what the employer may want from the employee going forward within their career trajectory, or is it a little bit of both?
I think if it's done the right way, it should be mutual in a way, right? But then I would say both. So we focus on future skills that generally considered as important, and then if the employer is, if the employer and employee is well informed on the right track, they should pick also those courses which should serve them as beneficial in the future. Yeah, I think so, if that makes sense.
With the coursework, is there any coursework that people that attend these things would have to do? Maybe to prove that there was learning that took place, because often...
No, they don't have to prove anything. I mean, they have to attend, otherwise they don't get a certification that they've been there, right? That's the only thing, but we are not obliged to do any sort of tests in the end they just have to attend, basically, right? But from our experience, that is actually most of them kind of not only attend, but are very active, and usually. So I think one of the bigger successes is also that it's perceived as fun. Also, actually people I remember one of our first courses. There was a Friday. It was sunny outside. It was in the afternoon, and with the project management course, and they were doing a Scrum Master and wouldn't finish working. And I was like, guys, the sun is outside. Why would you go out? Let's go for a surf maybe. And they were so engaged. They had so much fun doing the Scrum Master. By the end of the week, they actually stayed longer and participated more than they should have. So yeah, we don't do that, but it's also, I think it's an issue because people are usually so engaged that they take the full course and take maximum advantage of the course as itself. Yeah.
I was just thinking from the point of view of adding credibility to the courses to have a coursework.
They are all certified. I mean, they're all we go through like a certification process for all the courses in Germany. So depending on the state, it's a federal country, it's a big mess. I will not go into that. So actually we have to certify some courses in 14 different states at the same time. So that's a bit of a complicated issue, but they all are somewhat certified and by the authorities. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Ooh, questions everywhere.
Is this educational leave only in Germany?
It is that way. It's only in Germany. I think there are similar sort of more or less similar approaches in other states as well, in the European Union at least. But it's that way. I think is more of a German thing. Yeah.
I just want to ask two questions. Who's paying for this? The employer or the employee? And then also, how long does this course last? Like, is it a week, 2 weeks?
Okay, yeah, it's a 5-day course usually. And the employer gets like paid leave. So you continue receiving your salary, but the employer is not obliged to pay the course. But we have the experience that in a growing percentage of our participants, that the employer is actually willing to pay for it because he sees the benefit for himself and actually wants to support the employees taking those courses with us. I think also because we select quite carefully our topics and the way we structure them and try to do that in the most, like in a meaningful and professional way as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
There's one more. Hey, there's one more. He's just a little bit shy.
What if it's not relevant to what the business would deem valuable towards that business? So let's say they are doing two completely different things for these 5 days.
So it depends on the state in Germany. In most states it doesn't matter, so it's your free choice. So you can go and do yoga in most states, for example, which is maybe completely unrelated to your work. There are 1 or 2 states who require that the Bildungsurlaub or the education leave is in line with your professional activities. Right? So it's always this, you will hear always the federal thing in Germany is quite, there's no clear answer to that, you know. But I think the employer will be unlikely to maybe pay for it, for example, right? But in most states it doesn't have to be related to work. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Just to keep it succinct, thank you so much everybody for coming. I hope you have a beautiful day. Let's give Carlo a hand.
So maybe one last thing I was thinking about. So I know not every state has it, you know, but I think there's like small, like what I think is the biggest learning I think from what we've experienced over the last year is this bringing people together, changing the setting. It doesn't have to be like traveling to the other end of the world, for example, but just changing. Like if you plan workshops, change the group setting. Try to book yoga classes or do some different sport, something like that. That you can also kind of do that in a smaller setting without having to travel really far. But it really makes a difference. And I think it's really cool to really break out of like the classical like in-house schooling setting with only your close peer group, but try to find settings where you can actually open up, I think. And this is something you could do anywhere in the world without having those laws or maybe also less funding whatsoever. But it really makes it more efficient and healthier and happier for everybody. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, squeezing that one in.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day.